Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Blockbird Cryptocurrency. All right, so the market is looking pretty strong. We have a $508 billion market cap. There is a sea of green, and Bitcoin is back well over $11,000. So let's talk about a couple of projects I have my eye on. So in this sea of green, I am actually looking for deals. I'm not trying to buy a whole bunch of stuff unless it's being overlooked or if it's in the red. Something that's up 31% like Bitcoin for the week, I'm usually staying away from. Litecoin is up 40%. These are projects that I'm waiting for them to retrace and to subsequently visit afterwards. So I'm looking for deals. I was recently in Ethereum Classic and I sold right around here. So you can see it's up 48.8%, 88% for the week. And I plan to get back in after there's some retracing. We'll see. It may go up. Who knows? But when a coin does move up so quickly, I try to get out of my position and take my profits. So if you look at this sea of green, there are two projects that stick out in the top 30 that I think may be a good deal. Nano, which is down 12% for the week, and Populous, which has been pretty even throughout the week price-wise, but it's down approximately 100% from its all-time high, if I'm correct. Yeah. So there's a lot of room to grow. Now, these projects aren't down or under the radar for any reason. In fact, the reason why they are down is because of FUD. And in this case, I don't mean FUD in a dismissive sense, but true fear, uncertainty, and doubt because of recent developments. So starting off with Nano, a boatload of Nano, $170 million worth, was recently hacked. The obscure Italian coin exchange BitGrail looks to be the latest cryptocurrency cautionary tale. On Friday, the site posted a notice to users informing them that hackers had made off with 17 million units of Nano XRB, the coin formerly known as Ray blocks. So obviously this has made a lot of investors uncomfortable, and there has been a large sell-off happening, and it is down significantly from its all-time highs. It was as high as $32, and it's now down to $8.63, which is a really large discount. And then finally, the FUD going on with Populous, a couple things has to do with this. Deal has been canceled. So the cryptocurrency Populous was supposed to partner with a luxury hotel brand and issue a cryptocurrency, and a lot of its investors were counting on this project. In 2017, Luxor Global Citizen identified the incredible potential of creating its own cryptocurrency based on a bespoke business model and structure. Luxor Global Citizen saw the cryptocurrency as something that would be complementary to its core business in two ways: accepting the digital currency as a form of payment against luxury goods and products, and offering valued customers a 5% reward in Luxor Global Citizen digital currency. Luxor Citizen was approached by Populous World Ltd. With an offer to create a cryptocurrency in return for 10% of the invoices to be filtered through the Populous invoicing platform. Luxor Global Citizen came to an agreement with Populous Ltd., but made the decision to terminate this arrangement with immediate effect from February 1st. Luxor Global Citizen has retained experts in this field to build its own cryptocurrency internally. So pretty much here, it looks like this large hotel brand was partnered with Populous, and once they thought about the business model, they figured they could just do it themselves, and so the deal was canceled. They backed out. So that's that. Additionally, there is some fear, uncertainty, doubt surrounding Steve Nico Williams, the CEO and founder of Populous. Apparently there have been allegations about his background, and apparently he has some convictions, and that also is making investors uncomfortable. So a double whammy. And it has lost, like Nano, a large percentage of its value in light of this recent news. So why am I talking about these projects? Well, despite the bad news, despite the FUD, I believe these are two solid projects that will inevitably recover, and I think they are great buying opportunities, especially when we have a market that is moving upwards. We may be in the middle of a bull market, and savvy investors are going to be on the lookout for deals. Yeah, as you can see, it's gone up by 1 billion since I started this video. So investors, the savvy investors, are looking for good deals. They're looking for things that are discounted. As you can see, Nano is starting to creep up in the last hour, and Populous is still down within the hour, but it too will start to move into the green. So, use cases. Both of these currencies have very strong use cases. Populous is an invoice discounting platform, ran off of the blockchain, and what it does, it links up investors or invoice buyers with invoice sellers. So for invoice sellers, expand your business by expediting your cash flow. For invoice buyers, earn passive income from purchasing invoices. So the process is pretty straightforward. Invoice buyer deposits PPT, those are Populous tokens, and receives tokens and trades the invoice. Gold is sold to cover the tokens, so that anchors the tokens. It essentially is, you could call it a tether. Basically, it's a type of tether. In this case, it's a legitimate tether. It's actual gold. Invoice seller receives funds for invoice sold. Invoice seller settles sold invoice and repays funds. Gold is repurchased and returned back to Gold LP. And that's that. So this is a potential multi-trillion dollar enterprise. And one of the primary hiccups for most businesses, whether they be small or large, is cash flow, especially rapid cash flow. Typically, when a business is operating with a vendor, once they send that product to the vendor and the vendor receives it, there can be a delay of anywhere from a few days to sometimes a few months between that business issuing an invoice and getting cash back for the services rendered. So where Populous steps in, it sets up a platform for PPT holders where they can put their PPT into the system, get the tokens, cash out the invoice seller, and obviously in doing that, they're going to get a fee that's paid for by the invoice seller, and they can do that over and over again and rinse and repeat. And the use case is extremely strong. Additionally, there seems to be very little risk, according to Steve Nico Williams, and the level of scrutiny that they put invoice sellers through. So these are individuals who are very creditworthy and they have a strong financial history. So despite the bad news, this is a project that I've wanted to get into, and I recently did get into, and I think you should be giving it a closer look too. Now, the other project that I'm also looking at in the midst of this bull market, but these two projects have a slight bear trend. I'm also looking at Nano. Why Nano? So Nano, I think, also has a very strong use case. It is a digital currency for the real world with fast and free transactions, instant transactions, zero fees, and infinitely scalable. Those three things alone are just huge. So think about that. Its competitor here with instant transactions, that would be Ripple. But we want to stay away from Ripple because, well, that's the banker's coin. Cryptocurrency is all about decentralization and taking control of your own money. And if Nano can do what Ripple does instantly, why bother? But what Ripple doesn't have is zero fees. So Nano's competitors would pretty much be any cryptocurrency that charges a fee when you send transactions back and forth between wallets from different exchanges, whether you're paying gas and ether or you're paying miners when you're sending Bitcoin or Litecoin. Despite Litecoin's fees being very low, it has fees nonetheless. Nano is totally free. And finally, it is infinitely scalable. This is also huge because, as we know, with those first generation blockchains and even second generation blockchains like Ethereum, a big problem with these cryptocurrencies has been scalability. We saw this in live action just a couple of months ago with the cryptocurrency fiasco on the Ethereum network, where it completely bogged the network down and caused transactions to take hours. And from what I heard with some people, it took them days for transactions to go through because the network was bogged down by CryptoKitties. So these are two great projects. And in addition to that, the teams have been very transparent about what's going on. The CEO of Populous, he posts on his Twitter page several times a day. He has answered questions with followers. He is preparing interviews. This is a guy who is not trying to hide. It's not as though this FUD happened and he completely just went ghost. But this is a guy who is communicating with the public, and he's keeping them constantly updated on the platform and developments of Populous. And the same with Nano. They are updating their clients, or their holders rather, and they are very transparent. And it seems as though this comes down to a crappy exchange and a lack of good security. It's not a problem with the project itself, but what do you do in cryptocurrency? You buy the news and you sell the hype. So right now, Nano is going through a bit of bad news, and this is your time to buy. The project fundamentally is still there. It's still strong. So I'm not saying that I'm blindly walking into these projects simply because they are two of the only projects in the top 30 that currently have a slight bear trend. No, I'm walking into these projects because they are strong projects that have lost a little bit of trust amongst their investors, but that trust can be gained back easily. And they have seen tremendous all-time highs, and they have also seen tremendous lows, which tells me as an investor that it's a prime buying opportunity. So that is all, folks. I hope you were able to gain something from this video. Tell me what you think. Would you invest in Populous or Nano? Is it a good buying opportunity? Do you think it'll go lower? I think these two have essentially found their bottoms, but let me know what you think. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Every like is appreciated. And finally, this is not financial advice. This is my journey with cryptocurrency, and thank you for joining me. All right, bye.